Hello student, you are with Ma'am Yenisari, the lecturer of Industrial Engineering University of Surabaya. We are going to discuss the methodology in Six Sigma and specifically every stage of this methodology week by week. You will find out that the DMAIC methodology in Six Sigma is an organized and systematic method. It's like the one in PDCA cycle to support the process improvement in an organization or to develop the new product and service in that organization. However, it relies on using statistical tools and the scientific methods. You will find out that some concepts that you have learned in statistical process control, such as using the control chart or calculating the capability process, measurement system capability or GIGS R&R will be used again in some stage of this methodology. Other scientific methods such as quality function deployment will be used to identify the voice of customer or five voice just to identify the root cause of the problem. Six Sigma project always calculate everything on financial numbers, whether it is the percentage on cost reductions or the percentage in revenue increase. In customer defined defects rate, Six Sigma approach, one of the power of the Six Sigma approach is data-driven approach. Six Sigma make decision based on data. So collecting the data and then analyzing the data and then decisions make based on the data analysis. Let's go to the first phase of this methodology. These are some activity will be done in defined phase. We try to linkage the business goal to the Six Sigma project. And also, we can also identify that the potential resources that owned by the company that can be support the Six Sigma project. This is the first one. And then we also go in detail, technically define the timeline for the project and understand the process or the department that become the scope of the Six Sigma project. This slide try to explain how the business goal is linkage to the Six Sigma project and how the Six Sigma project is derived to support the business goal. Yeah, so the business goal is translating into several objectives, and then several objective. One of the objective, let's say objective A, is translating to the target, and then the target become those target become the objective of the Six Sigma project. And also you can see the bottom one. The bottom one is try to describe. We discussed at the previous meeting that carrying out the Six Sigma project, we need the structure. We need the structure of the Six Sigma. So we can see here the executive team and the champion is those who are in charge to translating the business goal into the several targets for every project, and then that are given to the Six Sigma projects that lead by the black belt and several green belts. This is the example of the Six Sigma project that derives from the business goal. Let's say our business goal, every business have the goal to increase their profitability. They can achieve by several ways. They can achieve by increasing the sales, increasing the revenue, or managing the costs, reduce the unnecessary costs, or improving the working capital. Let's take one of the objectives, let's say the increasing sales. We can increase the sales by doing some improvement to improve the sales problem or production problem or creating new product. Let's say we are focusing on the production output. We want to increase the production because the demand is higher than the supply, and then our production output is not enough to supply the demand. So we are discussing how to increase the yield. We discussing this last week, how to increasing the yield. The yield, the percentage of yield, the yield percentage is refers to the number of the good product that can produce by our factory. Maybe the yield percentage is low because of the downtime problem, or machine always have a downtime problem. So this also can be another target. Also fasten the process time. So every target or one or more than one target can be translating to the Six Sigma project that led by the Six Sigma team. When choosing the Six Sigma projects, it said that choosing the Six Sigma project not only considering the insight of the business, not only influenced by the strength and the weaknesses that owned by the organizations, not only depends on the things that the company want, but also considering from outside the external factors, how the organizations overcome the threats, and considering the opportunity that caused by the environment of the industry or the environment of the business. We can starting by answer ourselves with these questions. How can we make the organization more competitive? What is critical to customer success? Yeah. So this can lead us to choose the best Six Sigma project for our organizations. So the projects can be categorized into two. First is whether it is a customer value projects, the projects driven by the customer, or it is a shareholder value projects, the projects that drive by the shareholder. This table shows us there are some Six Sigma tools that can be used to support the activities in defined phase. You might heard some of them, like voice of customer tools. We always using surveys, using the questionnaire, or we collect some main customer to identify voice of customer by doing the focus group, or we reading the comments cards from the customer. Also, you heard about the quality function deployment that you learn in product design. This might be new for you, CPOC. And then benchmarking. Benchmarking is also common for us. Yeah, it's try to learn the things, the best practice from our competitor, such as when Ubaya wants to design new curriculum, we usually benchmark to the world-class university, how they carry out their curriculum, and then we also adopt that in our curriculum. Other is process mapping, is common for us. Another one is project chart. Yeah, project chart. They sound new maybe for students, also simple. Yeah. Okay, then the following slide we will going to discuss one by one the tools that you use in the define phase. Okay, let's start with the first one, project charter. Before we are making the project charter, we need to initially define the project scope. Yeah, project scope is important. Let's say the previous example, when we want to increase the business profitability, we are going to increase the production output. Yeah, they are second. We have two options to increase the production output. Whether the first one, maybe we want to increase the current production year, or another one is we are increasing by adding the new production line. Yeah, we have to make it clear first which one. Yeah, because both of these options have very different scope. Yeah. When we want to increase the current production year, we are focusing on how to eliminate the waste in current production year, and then we are evaluating the waste and so on. Yeah, so the team that will be involved, in the increasing the current production year belongs to the current factory manager or the production staff, the experienced production staff. While if the project scope is trying to increase the production output by adding new production line, yeah, we are going to build a new production line with the new technology that can produce faster. Yeah, the theme is different with the first scope. We might need a factory manager from other company, from other branches that have the experience in the new production line with the new technology. Or even maybe the team will consist of the business development team, the team that will discussing about the layout, the transfer knowledge of the new technology of the new production line. Yeah, so we have to make it clear first about the scope of the project. After we define clearly about the scope of our project, then we can make the project charter. The project charter is like writing the proposal, write more detail, translating more detailed issue of the scope of the project. So in the project charter or the proposal, we try to describe the problem statement, and then who is the member, the team member, who is the black belt and the green belts, and then how many impact from the Six Sigma project on the financial issue, and then more detail the timeline of the project plan. Other tools like quality function deployment or house of quality is the chart that you may know. Yeah, you are very familiar with, is the chart that describe the relationships between of what what belongs to the customer requirement and how we provide the customer need. This chart is provides some important things like the percentage of the importance of what. Yeah, we can see the number here, which have the high value mean those customer requirement have high importance rate if compared to others. And from here, we also can see the average or the importance of how. Yeah, so we can choose which one of the how the technical descriptions that we are going to focus on. Yeah, so this is the relationship that causes the calculations of the number of the importance of what and also important of how. KFD. Other Six Sigma tools which are commonly used by Ubaya and industrial engineering students when they are doing their final projects is this one. Yeah, the process mapping and the CPOC or the copies model. Yeah. Do not forget that whatever the tools that we use in defined phase, at the end, we need to answer what are the critical true quality. Yeah. What are the important issue that we have to concentrate to focus on. We call it as CTQ. You are able to define this at the end of this define phase. Let's see the CPOC model. Let's see the CPOC model. Usually we always know about the IPO, yeah? The approach that we call is input process output. IE graduate, IE student always see the problems from the input process output. When we have a problem, we try to see what are the process, what are the input that cause that output. Yeah, what kind of the output that created by the input and the process. So we need to manage the process. Yeah. Now we are adding the S that refer to the supplier, and then the C refers to the customer. Yeah, CPOC. So this is the chart that we can use. Yeah, the CPOC model is using to understand the process, the current process. Yeah, you can use this table to fill the answer by asking the questions that provide here. So we can use this table to answer the questions that's asking here. Who are the suppliers for our product and service? And then what kind of the input that's supplied by the supplier? What is the start and ending point of the process? And then what are our outputs, our products, and who are our customers? Let's see this example. This example is about a company, a case study that ever done by industrial engineering student for her final projects. She was studying about the back productions in a company. Production in the company that supply to the other company like Joker and Rumah Sakit Premier. So we can start filling this here, such as I fill here the first customer is Joker. So souvenir shop, souvenir company. Yeah, and then second one is the Hajos Hospital. It's about the medical institutions. institution. Yeah, our customer. So the output the output can be filled by the output can be filled by the type of the bag. Yeah, so this is the green bag, yeah, for jogger, and then another one is the white bag for the hospital. White bag. So we can see here it's the we are supplying these we are supplying this green bag for the jogger and then the white bag for the hospital. And then what are the processes? Yeah, we are trying to understand that they have several processes. Yeah, maybe the first one is we can see is cutting, maybe cutting the cloth. And then the second one is adding the accessories, like adding the tali, yeah, adding the tali, the string, adding the tali into the bag. And then the final one is maybe packaging, yeah, packing the bag into 10 pieces in a pack, yeah, like that. We are trying to understand the activity, and then what kind of the input is belong to the raw material. Here the main raw material is called kind spoon bone, yeah, and spoon bone. So we are trying to understand who are the supplier of the spoon bone, yeah. Then we find out that the supplier is XYZ, XYZ, which XYZ is actually is the sister company of these organizations. Yeah, so this company produced the bag for jogger as the supporting company and then the hospital. But the company also supplied by the sister company. The sister company is owned by the same owner when they are supply the kind spoon boom. Yeah. So when we are collecting the process, we are collecting the something about the customer informations. We find out that the customer, like the hospital, want the cloth with the color of white, and it's clear because it's identify some white identify something pure, clean, medical issue. Yeah, while jogger is requiring the bag that have a good printing, the name is written well on the bag, like that. Yeah, so we can use the CPOP to understand the current process. So other model similar to the CPOP model is, we call it copies. Actually, copies is the reverse flow. Yeah, it's C for the customer, O for output, P process, input, supplier. Yeah, so it's just the reverse flow from the CPOPs just now. However, when we try to do the exercise of the bag manufacturer, I already start from the customer. Yeah, usually people starting from who are the supplier to who are the customer, but just now we already try from identify who are the customer and what kind of the product, and then we try back to who are the supplier that supply that raw material to the certain product that we ordered by the customer. Okay, After you be using the CPOC or the copies model to understand the current process that become the scope of the projects, other things is we need to understand or to identify the critical to quality. In order to identify the critical to quality, we can use some tools like this: a survey, focus group discussions, interview, or customer complaint. Yeah. So you can use to identify whether it is the voice of the customer or the voice of business. Yeah. If you have the access to the customer, you can go to survey the customer. But if you are not given the access to survey or interview the customer, you can do the focus group discussion or in-depth interview with the owner of the business. Yeah. For the example, there is a student supervised by Ma'am Yeni, yeah, when they are doing the final projects, considering investigating the product called as the CNG, compressed natural gas. It's the competitor to the LPG. Yeah. Usually LPG tabung bahan bakar yang kita gunakan adalah LPG melon atau LPG yang besar. This is another alternative product. It's called as the compressed natural gas. They propose the product with have the cheaper price the LPG, and they supply the service by the company came to the customer. They are bringing the tabung CNG, so the customer do not need to go somewhere to buy the product. The company will visit them frequently. So the student named Obi can have access to the customer. He can follow the drivers to visit one customer one by one, and survey. Yeah. So he get a lot of the information about first of the customer. Meanwhile, some company didn't allow the student to contact their customer. So you can also study the data that owned by the company, such as the data of the complaint, and then the result of the audit, or even the interview to the owner or to the person in charge. We call it voice of business or voice of customer. So we need all of this information to identify the critical to quality or CTQ. So after we get the voice of customer or voice of business, we are translating into the CTQ using the simple process like this. What is the needs, and then what are the driver of which part of our process become the driver of that needs, and then that driver will become the things that we need to control, the things that we need to focus, the process, the part of the process that we call as the critical to quality. Yeah, so proses kritis yang akan berpengaruh terhadap kualitas. So let's try an example. Again, the example is the bag manufacturer that produce spoon bag. Yeah, that they refer to jogger for the souvenir company. Yeah, the bag is used for customer come to buy the things in that souvenir shop, and then they put the souvenir shop in that bag. Another one is the bag that used by the patients that go to the hospital. Yeah, they need a bag to put the medical documents, and medical documents, uh, the receipt, the recipe, and then the suggestions and so on, the medical records. Yeah. So try to understand if you are the customer. Yeah. What is your definitions about the good bag? And then uh, translating from that customer need into the things that we call as critical to quality by using the chart like this. Yeah. So I will give you a few minutes, or you can pause this video before you see the answer. Yeah. Think about what are the customer needs from the perspective of the customer, and then translating the customer need, the voice of customer, into the critical to quality. Try. Okay. I thought that you are writing some answers. Yeah. Yeah, just keep your answer, and then we will discuss in our next meeting. Yeah, about how to translate the customer need into the critical to quality. So don't miss the Zoom meeting next week. Okay, now we will continue to the next tools, what we call as the process mapping. Yeah, I think you already know about this. This is the flowchart that you learned from making the OPC, or just simple flowchart. Yeah, the diamond is belong to the decisions, and the circle is belong to the process, and then this shape is belong to the document, and also the triangle is belong to the storage. Yeah, this is some the shape that usually used in the process mapping. Yeah. Other tools also similar to the process mapping is we call as the cross-functional process flow. Yeah, actually it's same. It's look similar to the process flow chart, but it just make more detail. It's divided or spreading the process into several function of the organizations. Yeah. If flowchart is usually one directions, here we can see the process is done by every entity or every department of the process. Yeah. Cross-functional flowchart is used to see the uh, crowded, the complicated, the back-forward process. Yeah, if we have a process from here and then go here and then back again here, yeah, and then again here and back again here, it means that we have a very inefficient process. Yeah, back forward, yeah. Yeah, so it's try to identify those complicated or redundant process flow. Okay, the last tools that commonly used in final project in Lean Sigma is we call it IDEF. Yeah, it's the abbreviations from IDEF is refers to the abbreviations of integration, definitions of function, modeling. Yeah, it's just similar tools to draw the process flow, but it's look a little bit fancy. Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, this is the process, the symbol. Yeah, so this is the activity or the process that we want to draw. The left hand side is describe the input, and the right hand side is describe the outputs, and the bottom one is describe the machine, the mechanism, the things, the tools that we use to carry out the activity, and another, the upper one is the procedure, the things that, the mechanism that, I mean that the things that we use to control the process. Yeah, let's see here. We are investigating the process of making the hamburger, the barbecue hamburger. Yeah, so this is the process of making the hamburger, and this is belong to the raw material, the ingredients. Yeah, the ingredients is the bread, the vegetables, cheese, and then the meat, and then the output is the product of the hamburger, this one. And then the mechanism is belong to the cooking utensil and the barbecue equipment itself. And then when we carry out this, the process, the cooking process of the hamburger, we are seeing the recipe or the cooking instruction. Yeah, how to use the machine, and then how long we need to bake the meat, and how we cut the vegetables and so on. Yeah, so IDEF, this is the example of the IDEF to describe the process flow. So this is the level 0. If we want to describe more detail, we can click on this process, and this process will become more detailed into the several process like this. Yeah, but this is another example. This is another example, but we want to describe more detail. Yeah, so this is the example of how the traffic light system, work to overcome the traffic jam, yeah, between the farm road and then the highway. Yeah, so the first process, do not need to understand the process, but I want to show you how to make the IDEF using how to describe the process using the IDEF. Yeah, so this is the process 1. We define it as A1. This is the process 2, define it A2. Yeah, so this is the input. Yeah, input, and then this is the output from the first process and going to the third process. Also, the third process A3 need the input from the second process. But we see here, the process A1 to A2 have no relationship. Yeah, they are the parallel process. And then if there is a problem, the process A3 will back again to the process A2. Yeah, and then the process A3 will continue to the A5 and then give the output from the A5, or the process of the A3 we go to the A4 and give the output from the A4. Yeah, so the square or the rectangle refers to the process from A2, A1 until A5. Yeah, and then the color of the blue is belong to the input. Yeah, and also the output. Also, the purple one is belong to the machine or the equipment that used to running the process. Yeah, so to run the monitor farm route, we need the route sensor. To run the countdown time tracker interval, we need timers, controller, traffic light for the farm road or highway. So this belong to the machine or the operator that carry out the process. So another one we call as the control is belong to the green one. Yeah. So this is the how this process run. It's looking for the interval duration policy. Yeah. So if we have traffic jam here, yeah, this is belong to the highway and this is the farm road. farm road. So we have the traffic light here, So how this traffic light works, yeah, it's described using this process. So usually the traffic light will follow the interval duration policy here, but it will change when the queue of the vehicles is too long here. So the traffic light system here will adjust the time, the durations, yeah. So it will, if this car is queuing here too long, so the red light become shorter and the green light become longer. So let that the car flow in order to overcome the traffic jam. Yeah. So the control lights will work under the light control policy and so on. Yeah. So the upper ones belong to the mechanism. So this is the example of how doing the IDEF, uh, the general one, and then there is more detail. Yeah. I hope that, I wish that you can do an exercise to draw an IDEF diagram from the informations in this slide. Yeah, it's also the same case study. Yeah, so you can practice yourself. First is try to identify the customer needs and then translating into CTQ, and also using these informations in the slide you are trying to draw the IDEF for the bag manufacturer. Yeah, so the process of making the bag that deliver to those two customer. Okay, try first and then we will discuss your answer in our next meeting. Thank you very much for listening and study this material. Bye-bye.